In this video, I'm going to be talking about the best way of becoming a paramedic in 2024. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Ayaz. I'm a paramedic. I've been practicing for around 6 years now. Now in this step-by-step guide, I'm going to be going over all the steps it takes to becoming a paramedic through the ambulance service route. It is the best way of becoming a paramedic for a number of reasons, and I'll talk about them reasons later in this video. But the problem with this route is that it's very scarce and there's not many trusts that are advertising courses, and therefore making it a rarer opportunity. But however rare it may be, it's still there and it's still ideal for some people out there. So in this video I'm going to go over the application process, pre-course assessments, so what assessments you're going to have to go through before getting onto the course, and lastly the pros and cons of going down this route. So get comfortable, as it's quite a lengthy and detailed explanation. So here we go. Now let's have a look at the application process. It's actually very straightforward. What you're going to have to do is get onto NHS Jobs, set up a profile, search for the student paramedic role, and consider where your locality is, because different trusts share different borders. You might be in between two borders, you might be closer to one trust than the other. So have a look into the individual trusts and if they offer student paramedic courses. There are some that do, but they only do it for internal applicants. So definitely have a look at what trust you're wanting to apply to, find out if to do a student paramedic route, set up an alert. It's as simple as that. Now it's very important to note as well, if you are planning on going through a student paramedic program with an ambulance service trust, start looking at getting your C1 provisional on your license as soon as possible. This is absolutely vital. You won't even get shortlisted. Once you've decided you can commit to the program and you've thoroughly checked the eligibility criteria, compile all of your information together, get all of your previous results, previous work experiences, and a supporting statement. You will be asked to provide evidence of all of the things that you claim to have done. Then, hopefully, fingers crossed, your application will be reviewed and shortlisted for the next stage. Step 2 usually is an invitation to the academy to do a highway codes assessment, a driving assessment and a fitness test. Have a look at one of my previous videos. I'll link it up here, that talks about the selection criteria and all the different things you need to get onto the ambulance service route. Other important things are things like reference history, so make sure you have 2 references available, and a health screening. It's a criteria that they have that allows people with health conditions the opportunity to work within the ambulance service trust. Okay, so let's move on to step 3 now, is the course structure and what to expect over the 36 months that you'll be training to become a paramedic. So once you've successfully completed all of your application process, you've gone through all of the assessments and you've finally been accepted onto a paramedic course, you will then have to prepare for that ultimate day, which would be day 1 of your road to becoming a paramedic. Now it starts with a 14-week AAP course, which stands for Associate Ambulance Practitioner. Now there's lots of different names to different grades within the ambulance service and the emergency services, and I think it warrants a whole video of its own. The AAP program, which is a level 4 qualification, and this is the set standard for the pathway to becoming a paramedic. Essentially you become an AAP first and then you do a conversion course to take your AAP course to the level 6 paramedic science. So it's a 14-week course and it will teach you the fundamental principles of anatomy, physiology, pathophysiology, common conditions that you might encounter, basic life support, intermediate life support, certain medications that you'll be able to give as an associate practitioner, and essential life-saving skills. Then once the 14-week program is up, you'll go on to a 4-week driving course, and that driving course is basically ensuring that you will be able to drive an ambulance confidently. So once you've completed your AAP program and you've completed your 4-week driving course, you will then be allocated an ambulance station or hub, where you'll then be based out of and working on a shift pattern. But the point of this period is to consolidate your knowledge as an AAP, and you won't get your full qualification until you get signed off, and this happens via a portfolio process. You'll have to work around about 750 hours and you will have to go over all the different topics in your portfolio. The next stage is consolidating your knowledge as an AAP whilst you wait for a place at university. You're now at university, converting your knowledge from the level 4 AAP up to level 6 of paramedic science. Now during this time at university, you'll spend majority of your time in a classroom, whether it's remotely or whether you're actually at university, and you'll be learning all the new knowledge and skills to get you up to the level of a paramedic. Advanced life support, major trauma treatment, advanced ECG recognition, and much more. The jump up from the AAP level up to the paramedic level for some people can be quite a drastic jump, but if you keep up to date with everything during your AAP program, you don't get lazy, you should be able to get up to that level before you get to university. This part of the course combines the theoretical stuff that you'll be learning at uni with practical stuff that you will learn when you go out on placements. And then finally is when you qualify. You've been to university, you've submitted your portfolio, everyone is happy with what you've done, you've passed all of your exams, and now you're at the point where you've finally qualified. But it's not over yet. You've got another 2 more years of consolidation. So in this 2 years, the NQP period, it's the same with university students when they come out. You have to now prove that you are capable of being an autonomous practitioner. And the way you prove this is by providing another portfolio at the end of it called your NQP portfolio. Now, just like all the other portfolios that you would have done, once you've submitted your portfolio and successfully been signed off, you are now a fully fledged paramedic. And now moving on to the last part of this video, the pros and cons of deciding to be a paramedic through the ambulance service route. So let's have a look at some of the pros then. The main pro for me is that this is a predominantly practical course. The paramedic job is a practical job. All of the skills that we do are practical. The interactions that we have with people are practical. The communication skills are practical. You will be more hands-on, which will then ensure that when it comes to becoming a paramedic, far more confident, you'd have great communication skills and practically sound when it comes to navigating around an ambulance. Another pro to going down the ambulance service route is that when you come out as a trainee AAP, you'll have already done your blue light training and done your blue light driving. And so usually when you're working as a double man crew, you take turns. One of you drives and the other one attends. And then you job about. The next job you'll switch over, they'll drive and you'll attend. But the fact that you're able to drive and attend gives you all that exposure, and the person you're working with, usually another AAP, a qualified AAP or a paramedic, usually pretty chill, let you try and practice your history taking skills, talking to patients, and the fact that you've been driving on blue lights and alerting your paramedic up to hospital on blue lights with the patient in the back. All of this exposure is highly relevant and highly convenient for your development. Another advantage is that going through the ambulance service route, training to be an AAP, when becoming an AAP and before going to university, you will have already acclimatized to that shift pattern lifestyle. And what do I mean by shift pattern lifestyle? That's your 4 on, 4 off. And to begin with, it's even harder than that because you'll be on relief. You might have 1 off, 3 on, 2 off, 5 on. It's a bit all over the place, but in that time, you're acclimatizing to shift work lifestyle and building certain habits and routines that will work for you. And then at the end of it, once you become a paramedic, you've already built that routine. You're not acclimatizing to a new job role, only furthering your skill set. One of the biggest pros for me with going down the ambulance service route is that you're earning while you're learning. When you go to university, you'll be paying around $9,500 a year. Going down the ambulance service route allows people who are already supporting families or already have financial burdens to take a hit and drop down their pay a little bit, but in order to gain this new skill and profession and a new career to help their families further down the line. So the fact that you earn while you learn is a massive advantage for me. I have already covered the pros and cons in previous videos. The first video that I ever released was on how to become a paramedic, and I talked about both ways in one video. A lot of that knowledge is now outdated because the paramedic program has changed, but some of it is still quite relevant. You see, one of the advantages the university route used to have over the ambulance service route was at the end of the program, when you're going down the ambulance service route, you didn't have a full BSc in paramedic science. You usually have like a foundation degree or higher national diploma, which you would then have to convert using a top-up program to get a full BSc. Now, the full BSc isn't the be-all and end-all of paramedic science. However, if you do wish to progress in your career later down the line, a lot of the employers and awarding bodies are going to require you to have a full BSc. And the way the program has changed now, you don't pay for your journey, you earn while you learn, you make friends within the ambulance service, you get used to ambulance life, and at the end of it, you get a full BSc now. So isn't that absolutely wonderful? This is why I say this is the best way of becoming a paramedic. But of course there are still some disadvantages. Let's have a look at some of the cons. People who are at that age of going to university, they won't get to experience that university lifestyle and becoming an independent person. You won't necessarily have that opportunity to live like a student. If you were relocating from one part of the country to another, you can make friends with other student paramedics on your AAP program, perhaps live together, form networks of friends, work together, and therefore have some element of university life. It's also a lot more difficult actually having a social life once you're in the ambulance service. I'm notorious for having poor contact with friends and family. I get moaned at by a lot of my friends and family often, and I realised that when my friends and family were getting together to do things, it was often the weekend or bank holidays or evenings, and a lot of the times I was either at work or so tired at home recovering from work, and therefore it just killed off my social life entirely. So we've reached the end of the video. Thank you very much for giving me your time and listening, and just look out for the next one.